Right now. Hey, we're live.
I like when you press the button and you're still surprised.
I know. It's because it surprises when it suddenly goes live. All right. Well, welcome to another episode of Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. I am Bethany Stutzman. We have Krystal Mild and our special guest right now, Miss Brandy. Brandy, why don't you go ahead and give us just a little bit about yourself right there?
Hi, everybody. My name is Brandy, and I am from Maryland. I'm really into ghosts, paranormal, all that fun, quirky stuff, urban legends, all the good stuff. So I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you here.
Yes.
First thing I'm going to ask is anybody Irish?
No.
Yes.
You both answered. Who was yes?
Brandy was.
Yes.
Brandy, yes. Welcome, fellow Irishman right here. I was so excited because I spent most of my life knowing that I was like German to English. And then when I took an ancestry test and found out I was mostly Irish, I was like, oh, that explains so much. Like my love for whiskey.
It's always those ancestry tests that really tell you more about yourself than your parents ever do.
I know.
I mean, all my dad's family is from the same place, so that's pretty easy for me.
Where's he from?
Latvia.
Where's that?
Yeah.
It's like Eastern Europe, close to Russia. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I think, I'm pretty sure it was part of the USSR at some point when that was a thing. But it's its own country. Hi, Stacy.
Hey, Stacy. And then we have Landa here too. Hey, Landa.
Oh, hey, Landa.
Well, we are super excited to have everyone here. Thank you for everyone working with us. I'm so sorry we were not on last week. I had some medical stuff going on, but we are all good. We're all here this week, and we are excited to talk to you about Irish urban legends and myth and folklore, all the fun stuff. So we have a show full of a bunch of different goodies that we're going to talk about. We each kind of looked into some separate things about our that were kind of interesting for each of us. But I know one of them that we're going to talk about was the Banshee. So I think a lot of people, when they think of Irish, they think of the Banshee, or maybe they didn't know that the Banshee was associated with Irish. But yeah, I think the Banshee is kind of interesting. Brandy, what do you think of when you think of the Banshee?
I just think of like old folklore of like a hideous creature, terrible, scary teeth who like screams you to death.
That's very accurate, actually. Krystal, what about you? Do you think of anything? Like what pops into your head when you think of the Banshee right there?
Like I've always just kind of thought of like an old woman, like I don't know why, but it's just like an old woman with like really long hair just kind of floating there and just like screaming, obviously. I mean, that's what the Banshee's known for. And just almost like trying to lure you out into the woods with her.
Yeah, kind of like a siren of the land, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a special shout out to Mike right there. What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Hey, Mike.
And then we have Stacy. She said, Banshees terrified me when I was a kid. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people have an image of an older lady when it comes to Banshees, you know, kind of like a crooked old lady, just white hair, straggly, and just screaming. But what's interesting is there's no, well, from what I saw, there's no like one single myth relating to the Banshee. But a lot of them are actually just, you know, women in general, whether it's like a young, beautiful woman. I know one of them is like a young woman who's like, you know, no clothes, and she's holding like a bowl of blood. Like that's one of hers, like one of the images. Some older lady, like an old croon type thing. Crone. Yeah, thanks. You know, screaming. But it became such like a hand-me-down tale that a lot of Irish families actually felt that they had their own personal Banshee that would warn the family of an upcoming death or like upcoming doom going on. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it's kind of like, do you want to be warned that you're going to have someone die in the family, or do you not want to know? you know?
I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things where no matter what, like, it doesn't, because, you know, like, I've had like an ill family member, and we knew that they were on their way out, and I don't think it made it any easier to know. Although, you know, if there had been, well, actually, just not a banshee, but thinking of the night that he died, I was staying with some friends, and they had a brand new baby, and he, around the time that my brother was dying, the baby woke up and just started like screaming and crying, and he wasn't hungry, he didn't need a diaper change, he didn't need any of that, and my friends didn't wake up, which every new parent wakes up when their kid is screaming their head off, and they didn't.
Right.
So he was my own personal banshee that night. And I kind of already knew that, you know, my brother had been sick for a while, so we already knew it was coming. I don't think it made it any easier. But it was definitely kind of like, almost like, okay, well, maybe there was something like letting me know, and like maybe his spirit or something was reaching out in a way. So in a way, that's kind of comforting if you think about it that way. And I mean, I know we're not Irish, so wasn't our family's banshee, but maybe, you know, so maybe that's kind of where banshee legend kind of comes from sometimes, because it's very common for people to say that they experience things where, like, oh, I thought I saw so and so, found out later that they died at that time. So it's kind of similar to those like harbingers. I mean, it is a harbinger of death, but you know, I think that that's kind of a common thing in different ways around the world.
Absolutely.
Not to get super personal, you guys. Sorry.
No, you're totally good.
Good to
hear. But yeah, you never know. You never know what you're going to experience until you experience it, kind of deal. I know that when we had a family member who passed away, my mother actually saw him, like almost like I'm trying to remember how she described it, but almost like this, like she woke up and saw him, and he was like, you know, saying goodbye almost. And then she fell back to sleep. And then we found out later that he had passed away. But whether you want to describe it as like a banshee or like a visitation or something, I think every culture kind of has their version of a banshee in a way, you know, whether it's like a person warning them of an upcoming death, or someone who is just letting them know that they've passed on, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Like, it's one of those things. I mean, the banshee is definitely a terrifying version of it, because I don't think I've ever heard like any story about the banshee that's like, oh, it was comforting.
Yeah, it's so comforting. I always think of Charmed when I think of banshee, because like the character Phoebe, she turned into a banshee for a while because it was like her lost love of Cole. And so then she was like this banshee for a bit, like, and then her sisters had to bring her back, and it was this whole like heartwarming tale and stuff. But I don't know why that's my first thought when I think of a banshee is Charmed.
I mean, nowadays I think of Supernatural, so that's fine.
Yeah.
That's when they met. Oh gosh, I can't think of her name. The deaf hunter that
the death hunter.
Deaf.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
The chick with the hair, and she became deaf later on, right?
No, she was deaf when they met her, but she and Sam hooked up later. I can't think of her character's name.
No, I can't think of. All I can think of Sam with is Ruby and the werewolf chick. I can't think of Sam with anyone else.
I mean, this is like much later. Like,
I mean, to be fair, there's like 16 seasons, so
yeah, you know.
Brandy, what do you think of?
I definitely, when I think of like the banshee, you know, kind of like ominous, kind of premonition type of situations. It kind of like reminds me of like, like the Mothman, because I'm from Maryland, so we always have the Mothman prophecies, in Virginia, which was ominous warnings of a mythical creature, and giving you those warnings of upcoming deaths. So the Banshee kind of does that, maybe not on such like a high level of the amount of deaths that came from the Mothman, but it's still terrifying. And to me, it's just kind of like this ominous premonition that, if you see it, somebody is going to die, which is still like, it could still be a scary thought if you see a Banshee versus something comforting, like the person type of situation. And you learn they pass away. But the Banshee is definitely more terrifying. And just if you see it, it's just never a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine?
Huh?
The Banshee's more in your face. Like,
yeah.
It's not just going to be like, I'm going to come visit you in a dream. It's like, I'm going to scream and scare the shit out of you. And,
Well, that's like, I know we talk about it, but can you imagine actually experiencing it? Like, one of us, we're just driving home from work one day. Like, we had a bad day at work. Our coffee wore off long ago. We've been dealing with people. And then next thing you know, there's this like woman just screaming at you. And then she disappears. Like, what?
Like a good way for her to cause your death.
I know.
And probably drive off the road.
Exactly. But that kind of leads to almost the power of suggestion. Like, was the death caused because the Banshee told you? Or was the Banshee letting you know that the death was going to happen? Like, I don't know.
I mean, from the legends, what I understand is more like, it's not necessarily that she's the cause. It's just that she's like, she's more of a messenger.
Yeah. And that whole thing, don't shoot the messenger, but when the messenger's yelling at me, I kind of want to shoot him.
Yeah, I mean,
Brandy's like, I'm done.
Horror out of the equation. If all of a sudden there is just this like long-haired naked woman holding a bowl of blood screaming at me, I'm not a violent person, but I'd likely try to punch her.
You would. Like, I've done horror houses with you, and you would attack the person that would jump out at you.
I mean, most of the time I laugh at them, but
yeah.
Although I do think the last time that we went into one,
oh my God, is that
that's Olive.
Oh my God, you little chunky monk.
Olive has a standing position here.
She was so tiny in Maryland. I'm sorry. I haven't seen her in years.
No, it's fine. Yeah, she was. When she first was abandoned behind our work, she literally fit in the palm of my hand. She was super tiny.
Aww.
Now she's a big old chunk.
Well, it looks like Londa agrees with all of us.
Well, I remember, but like the last time that we went in a haunted house, I remember something about like they had like a little detached head. And I said something like I was being a smartass to the person, so he threw the detached head at me.
Oh, God.
I was like, okay, sorry. Didn't mean to.
I remember one haunted house. I don't remember who I went through it with, but it was at Old Tucson. And it was one of those where it was completely dark and you had to have a flashlight. They gave you flashlights to go through. And my flashlight died. And somehow I ended up behind the scenes with the people who worked there. And I ended up scaring the person who was supposed to jump out at us. Like, I was like, hey. And he's like, what? And then I'm like, I'm just lost. Like, that's my one haunted house story.
That is funny.
All right. Well, we've talked about the Banshee, but I know all of us have some fun Irish legends that we kind of looked up. So, Krystal, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to give you the first one here. So, if you want to tell us about whatever Irish urban legend or story or lore that you kind of came across.
So, I was looking into Irish vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And there was two kind of big ones that I came across, and we all know that I don't speak Irish, so just I'm not going to pronounce these correctly. One was excuse me, the Abhertech, and then the Dirgdu. And I thought I'd talk about them both at the same time because like they're different from each other, but they're very similar in ways too. So with the Abhertech, it's there was this village, and Abhertech actually means dwarf, I believe, in Irish.
Dwarf. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was, and it's just like, I don't remember if they gave him a name, but he was just the Abhertech, and he was just like very magical, but very evil, and he was terrorizing this village. So the chieftain of the village killed him and buried him in the ground standing up. And then the next night he came back and he was like super pissed off because he had just been killed. And so he was running around doing more things and just, being evil and killing people. And so the chieftain again killed him and then buried him again the same way. And then he came back the third night. And so the chieftain went and found a sorcerer, and the sorcerer was like, well, no, you have to kill him again, but bury him upside down so his head's facing down. And then he also said to stab him with a yew stick, Y-E-W, it's a type of tree. So he did that, and then that's pretty much what stopped the Abhertech from coming. And some people say that Bram Stoker took some of his inspiration for his Dracula from that. And I'm like, with the like stake in the heart, I can kind of see that for sure. Mm-hmm. And then the other one, the Dirgdu, is a female vampire, and she was a chieftain's daughter. She fell in love with a peasant, and the chieftain was like, nope, that's not how things work. You're not allowed to be in love with a peasant. So he forced her to marry another chieftain, again, an evil sorcerer, kind of like the Abhertech. And the Abhertech like basically imprisoned her and tortured her. So she escaped to go back, and her husband came and killed her. She came back to life and started like going to her husband and going back to her town and to her father, and actually like not necessarily biting people and drinking their blood, but she was like taking blood from people, and they ended up having to kill her again with a stake of yew. And that's how they killed her. So, it's just like, obviously those both have kind of like similar elements with like the chieftain of a small village trying to get rid of this like evil, although with the Dirgdu, which that translates to red thirst or red bloodsucker. So
okay, Dirgdu does
Dirgdu. Yeah, I don't speak Irish.
It's English, but
like Irish is its own language.
It does actually, yeah, like Gaelic and stuff like that. Well, that's Scottish.
So, but I just think like those definitely, like you see a lot of today's vampire folklore like in there with, like the 3 days. Like that's one of the things with the Abhertech that really stood out to me, because they're always saying like you have to be, once you become a vampire, you're buried for 3 days. And for the Abhertech, it was more, he just kept coming alive for 3 days. And so it kind of like transformed from 3 days of terror before you finally killed him to, well, now you're just going to be dead for 3 days and then you can have forever after that. So
I wonder if there's correlation between that legend with the 3 days and Jesus Christ being dead for 3 days and then coming back. I don't know.
I don't remember how long ago they said that one's been around for.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know.
You never know, because you don't know what like we all have our beliefs and we all have our cultures, and you don't know what influences another, because it could just be someone coming across a ship across the seas, you know, sharing their heritage with other people, and that could inspire other beliefs. Like you never know what kind of influences what.
Yeah, well, as people move around the world, there's all kinds of influences, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, like look at a lot of the Christian holidays as they were moving into England and Ireland and, you know, just Europe in general. That was one of the ways that they got the pagans and the Celtic people to start celebrating Christian religions, is they borrowed things from the pagan holidays, like the Christmas tree, and using eggs and bunnies as like symbols around Easter time. It's because those were symbols of like life coming around again in the springtime. So, you know, it all just kind of enmeshes. So, so that's definitely something that could very well have happened.
It's like a whole form of inclusivity before people started doing that or recognizing it now. I don't know. Yeah.
Diversity with just things meshing together. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting that how trends come full circle. Full circle.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I've been up since 2 a.m. All right. Give me a little leeway. 2 a.m. and my s'mores drink. So that combo, just bear with me right now. But yeah, things come full circle, but also beliefs and I think tolerances can come full circle as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, that's interesting. I did not realize that the Irish belief was so founded with the Aberdac. Is that what you said? Kind of.
Abertac.
Yeah, sure. The Irish vampire. We're just going to go with that. But that makes sense that like Bram Stoker would kind of base a lot of his stuff off that, because that's what, as a lot of writers, like writers are very influenced by things around them. That's why they always say like keep reading if you want to be a good writer. So by reading a lot of stuff, maybe there was just a lot of influence in bringing in the feels. And for Bram Stoker at that time, it could have been like a brand new, like, woo, like here's some interesting stuff for all the people who were not familiar with like the Aberdac and stuff. So that's very interesting. That's kind of cool. I wonder how the correlation between that and Nosferatu. Thank you. That's that. Okay, that was this. So look at Mike. Mike's calling me out right now.
I know. I was like, so what's in your s'mores cup?
Yeah.
Hot chocolate.
Yeah, totally. It's the Irish s'more. We'll just put it at that. Thanks, Mike. But I don't know. What do you think, Brandy?
I definitely think that with the folklore, there's always a strong premise of religion behind it. You know, it's got to stem from somewhere. And sometimes these folklores are, you know, our urban legends are coming from, I'd say like kind of religious based, like it, you know, the Jesus and the 3 days and things like that. People kind of pinpoint those like urban legends a little bit with religion and, you know, God, whether it be God or the devil and things like that, that plays a huge part in that as well. I don't know too much about the Irish vampires, but I'll definitely be reading up on it and also seeing like if it's different than, you know, what we have now, like Americanized and everything like that, how much the stories have changed.
We've got Stacy says, no matter where the legends come from, I don't want to come up against any kind of vampire. You know what? I feel you.
I'm not winning.
Maybe in my 20s.
Yeah.
I don't know. Eric from True Blood. I'd be fine with that vampire.
Yeah, there's some vampires. No Twilight ones though. Don't get me started.
Definitely not Twilight vampires. The only sparkling should be coming from like body glitter.
And that's another trend that comes around and around.
I know.
You can't escape it.
I don't care if it shows me as a 90s, early 2000s teen. I'm so excited that body glitter is back.
No, honestly. I was doing my truck shipment today, and we have a brand called Tree Hut, and that's like where a bunch of the scrubs come from. Okay, well now they're coming out with like body gel, and they have like a shimmer spray, and the shimmer in the spray is unbelievable. It's like and I actually joked with my coworker, I'm like, if you take this out on the beach, you could pretend you were like a Twilight vampire. Like that's it was so glittery. She was like, yeah.
I mean, that sounds like fun to me.
It is. It was super fun. Londa says she'll take the bad guy vampire in Twilight. James, you know what? Yeah, he was pretty good.
I don't remember which one he was.
He was the long blonde hair, right? I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I was more of the guy with the dreads. That was him.
Yes. That's the first bad guy vampire from Twilight that popped into my head, but I didn't remember his name, so I was like,
the dreads guy.
I think he was part of Victoria's clan.
Yeah. Victoria with two different actresses.
Part of, I think, the Volturi.
Which one?
The bad people.
Oh, was James part of the Volturi?
Yeah, I think he was. Him and his sister.
Was that him? Oh, yeah. I don't know if it was him or if he was the blonde one. I don't know. I read the books once.
Yeah. I read the books once because my sister really wanted me to. And then I watched the movies once again because people really wanted me to.
Yeah. Dude, my family was all about like Team Jacob and Team Edward. And I was like, what? Like...
yeah, I'm not going to go into my rant on Twilight. If you
think it was cool. Yeah, I think Twilight was very generational because like Axel's sister loves Twilight. And a lot of people love Twilight from that generation. So I think it was more of a generational thing, and we just kind of missed it just a little bit because I think we grew up on like Anne Rice, those kind of vampires. Mm-hmm. So nothing wrong with any of those vampires, but I think that's just kind of where our preferences lie. Huh?
I'm like the odd person who loves Twilight. I love Twilight. I know you and watch every single movie from it.
She's like, I gotta stand up for my people.
No, there's definitely no shame, and I know that you like Twilight, so I'm definitely not trying to shame you, Brandy.
Yeah. Like, oh, you can shame. Trust me, we've already heard it.
I mean,
so that's the thing. It's just it's just your preference of where when you first kind of experienced vampires and where you jump in on. So a lot of people, Twilight was their introduction to vampires. Other people, it was Bram Stoker. Some people, it was Anne Rice. Like there's a lot of different variances of where people jump in on vampires.
Mm-hmm. So I like the books. I read the books, of course, before the movies came out, and I enjoyed them. Of course, the movies, questionable, but the books were. I enjoyed the books for them at least.
Books are never as good as the movie.
Reverse that.
Movies are never as good as the book. Even Axel's on the couch over here, and he's like, "Whoa!"
He's like, "Whoa!" That's a big
rewind.
That's a big
I'm
take.
Sorry.
That's a big hot take.
I'm gonna go up.
I'm like, especially for somebody that's writing books are never as good.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Movies are never as good as books. Please don't punch my author card.
It's gone. It's
Mike is dead on right here. Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yes.
She was almost like the epitome of like turning vampires into sexiness right there, besides Lestat. So it was like.
Well, also Queen of the Damned.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like the whole outfit that she wears, and she's just like strutting. Like boobs first.
Yes, I remember
boobs. I can't strut boobs first.
Girl, I can't. No. And my aunt tried to teach us, remember?
Well, she taught us how to shimmy.
She did.
We got banned from shimmying because of how she taught us to shimmy.
She was very good at teaching us. But no, I remember Aaliyah.
Yeah, Aaliyah. It was Aaliyah. Yeah.
From Queen of the Damned. And I remember trying to practice how to walk like her because she kind of walked with her hips first. And I was like, damn, like that's nice.
Yeah, she did good for that.
Yeah.
I think my first fall in love vampire movie was John Carpenter's Vampires.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That was my first one.
I just watched that not too long ago. That one and From Dusk Till Dawn 2 with the bank robbery.
I think my first exposure to
They
vampires
just kept getting
was Fright
cheesier
Night.
as they progressed.
Yes. But yeah, Krystal, you're right. Fright Night, that is a good introduction to vampires.
Oh, and the Lost Boys.
Oh,
Yes!
oh, yes. The
Oh,
Lost Boys.
all right. Krystal hit the nail on the head right there.
Oh my gosh, the Lost Boys. Can't forget about them.
You cannot. Or that sexy saxophone solo right there.
Have you
From
seen the
that
whole
guy.
cartoon?
Huh?
They like somebody took the saxophone solo and turned it into like a little cartoon with those almost like, it's like an animation style that's, I mean, it's people, but it reminds me of the Pusheen little cat animation style, and is like mullets flowing in the wind. It's so funny.
Oh my goodness. Londa's like, yeah, Fright Night and Lost Boys.
Yes.
Blade, yes.
Oh,
That one
yep.
was so
Blade.
good.
Mhm.
Blade. Sylvester, one of our weird kids. He's all about Blade too. Blade is really good. I think the comics obviously were better than the movies, but maybe it's because I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan, but I love like Blade 2 and Blade 3 better than the first one. I don't know.
I
think
love the
was
first
just-
Blade. I love
Yeah,
the
I just think
second. I didn't like the third.
The third was more funny, and that's probably
Yeah.
why I liked it. But I liked the actor who did the main antagonist in Blade 2, where he preyed on the vampires. That I love that actor because he was also in Hellboy as well. He played a character. He's really good at character actors, and I just love his performance. So I think that's why I liked Blade 2 more, because it was it was a villain of the vampires, and I was like, yeah. Get him.
Yeah.
Londa liked Blade 2. Or Blade as well.
Bethany, did I work? Was it when we worked at Pizza Hut that there was a regular that dressed like Blade, and he absolutely made everybody call him Blade? Do you remember that?
Yes, and the guy would walk up and down the street, kind of like our umbrella lady, who unfortunately passed away. She got hit by a car and she did pass away. But we had a Blade character as well, and he would go up and down our main street called Oracle, and he would have his weapons, and he'd be running in like the middle of 112-degree weather,
wearing a leather overcoat.
Yes, full ensemble, and he would have his weapons, and he'd be like running with his weapons and stuff. And I'm not talking like Main Street that's like 2 blocks. I'm talking Oracle that is like
it's a highway that literally, it's a literal highway.
It's a highway that goes
all the way up. It goes from Tucson to Oracle, which is what, 45 minutes away?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Londa.
Ryan Reynolds
and Londa.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how that would work out where I live. I mean, I think people would laugh at him.
Well, we did.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was like, I talked to him a couple times because like he literally came in regularly to Pizza Hut, and he was a nice guy, a little bit weird, but
hey, you know what? To each their own.
Yeah.
It made him happy.
Yeah, exactly. He was living his life,
we
doing
are.
what he wanted. You know, he completely didn't care what anybody else thought. Like, he's just like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. And here we are, 20 years later, we're talking about this guy. So obviously it works. I want to focus on Mike's comment right here. And jealous. Like, okay, I'm sorry, Buffy and Angel and Angelus as the Irish vampire.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. What can you say about him? So much.
I mean, he literally, how long did he play that character?
So long. And
So
it was
long.
glorious every single season and episode.
And like, he definitely, like, talk about a character arc, because he went, I mean, mostly he was good, like, in the shows, obviously, but like they show, like, they do show stuff about like his like evolution of being like super evil to being good, and like all kinds of stuff. So yeah,
like, let's admit, we loved him good, but we really loved him bad. And then Stacy, girl, I can't even. Spike is my boy. Don't get me started on Spike.
He was like, for a long time, Spike was one of those love to hate him. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, but he had that chip put in him, right?
Yes, which made him good. But then he didn't need the chip anymore. He was just, he was a good guy. He was a very misunderstood vampire with an accent. Yeah.
You always get me with the accent. So it's a dead for me. Exactly. Oh, vampire with an accent. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Well, maybe let's see if we can move on from vampires. I know we were talking about them a lot. We can always wrap back around. But I know that we all have some more legends we want to talk about. So, Brandy, we'll put you on the spot right now. What kind of legends do you have to talk about?
Okay. Mine's more towards like ghosts and haunted prisons. So in Ireland, you have Spike Island, where it houses a huge prison. I mean, it's over 103 acres, I believe. Rumor has it that it's 1,000 times worse than Alcatraz, apparently.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just going to give you like a little verbiage of it. There apparently is history dating back all the way up to 635 AD. They also have a Catholic church built on Spike Island. Everything there is apparently haunted. I mean, we went there when we went to Ireland, and you could definitely feel the ominous creepiness of this prison. Multiple casualties, multiple riots. Apparently, the rioters were so terrible that they burned down not one but several buildings there. Apparently, you just have very aggressive souls that are still stuck there. People do overnight paranormal hauntings and everything like that, and ghost tours. And I was watching a few videos, and you could hear screams in the background of the videos it was just one person there, and you could hear terrifying screams in the background. So if you ever get the chance, definitely check that out for the overnight ghost cruise that they have that go there. It was very creepy. And just being there was definitely one of the creepier places. They have multiple sightings of ghosts. They also have, it's a rumor that, the ghosts get violent as well with people. So it's a really crazy place to go to. It's one of the most haunted prisons throughout Ireland, if not the world, apparently. Oh, wow. If you look into the history up there, there's a lot of notorious Irish prisoners and just, I would say, a lot of bad people that were housed there. It's very interesting to hear all of it, and just the amount of ghost sightings that have been there. And also the fact that the ghost sightings have turned a little bit violent, like people getting pushed and touched and their hair pulled and things like that. And then when you watch videos of people staying the night there, you also hear the screams of what sounds like somebody being tortured. So that is also a little creepy. So it's definitely one of the ones that is really good for Ireland. If you ever go, definitely visit. Stay the night.
Brandy, you and Krystal, you've both been to Ireland, right?
Yeah, we went together.
And you guys went and did that. Did you go visit Spike Island?
Mm-hmm. We did.
Yeah, and I think with one of the riots, like it got so bad because they used to have like the prison, like all the guards and the warden and everything, they lived in like a separate little village on the island. But then, like Brandy was saying, there's been like all these riots, and they had to empty that village out because of the riots, and nobody ever moved back in. And so you just have, and you can you can't go like into the buildings or anything because, it's these super rundown buildings and safety issues. But you can walk through a little bit of the abandoned village, and it's just like this heavy feeling as you walk through there, and you see like a lot of it's burned out. a lot of it's overgrown now because it was a really long time since anybody's lived there. But yeah, like a lot of the most dangerous people were sent there because it is an island. Like we had to take a boat to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was crazy.
Did you guys experience anything?
No, not just like the heavy feelings that I mean, I don't know if Brandy did anything else, but that I just got like the heavy feelings in a few places.
I wish that they allowed entry inside of some of the places, but I think we had to pay extra to do that overnight tour. And I think we were honestly really drained. Ireland took a lot of our energy. But if you paid to do that overnight tour, you could stay the night there and go throughout the buildings. There were some buildings we could go through, but then, the very rumored haunted ones and the ones that were burned down, you couldn't go through them. They were kind of blocked off, but we did get to see inside of them. And, it just was kind of creepy. You look inside of the buildings and just everything's overgrown because you can tell that everything got burned down. And then just, the earth was coming back through the building and, just going through it. But it's kind of crazy to think that the prisoners were so violent that they rioted and killed people and just set buildings on fire. And then just to hear about overnight haunting stays there, that you just hear the screams of previous prisoners, or the screams when they were murdered, or were they the screams when they were tortured? Apparently, they used to put chain prisoners to the wall with a chain around their neck and then put like a bag over their head so they couldn't see and just chain them to the wall for God knows how long. So it's definitely a brutal prison with a brutal past.
Wow.
And you can see too, like on some of the parts that were burned, like it was literally just like it was like 3 levels of cells.
Mm-hmm.
It was like all open and exposed. Like it was just all these bars. Like the walls had like just so many bars. So like they were basically still exposed to like the elements and everything in some of those cells.
Wow.
It wasn't like a window. It was like the whole wall would just be bars.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So I wonder how you wouldn't be able to protect yourself from the elements then.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could like back into the corner, but like wind, cold, heat, all of that's still going to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was reading into it, and a lot of people died because of the conditions of the prison, malnourishment, and things of that. And what's creepy too is that people apparently hear children's, voices at the prison too. And apparently they used to also send children prisoners there, like kids as young as 13 as well. So that's even more of a dark history to this place.
Yeah.
I don't have the article, but I also read that they apparently discovered a tunnel, like a hidden tunnel there. And they discovered it back in like 2020 when they were excavating the prison and just keeping up with it. And they discovered a hidden underway tunnel apparently there. So it's kind of wondering, why was it built on an island? Where do you think you were going? What was going on down there? So
yeah, that's definitely that definitely makes you think, like, because I mean the whole island is the jail, which I think was also like a military fort at one point.
mm-hmm.
And then just like that village. But I mean, there's I can't think of any reason that anybody would need to have a tunnel there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying to sneak prisoners out through the tunnel, but it'd have to go all the way to the water at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Well, unless it's kind of like Alcatraz, like where okay, this is based off of me watching The Rock with Nicolas Cage. But outside the walls and then try to swim in shark infested waters. But I don't know. Maybe just to give them something to do. Because sometimes when you take away someone's purpose, that's the worst torture. So if your purpose is just digging a tunnel, sometimes that's all you can hold on to.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
That'd be crazy. You're just like, okay, I'm so excited because today I get to dig.
Like, I know, but like sometimes that's all you got.
That's like your excitement for the day. Like,
yeah.
Although back in 2020, that would have been pretty exciting. So I get it,
dude. Yo. I don't know. That definitely sounds pretty creepy. Like, do you guys ever remember that show Fear on MTV, where they would take like teenagers and they'd put them in haunted places like prisons and psychiatric wards and things like that, and they put cameras on them and they have to go do stuff. Okay, that's what I kind of imagine every time I picture like going to do like a paranormal hunt. Not like Ghost Hunters now where there's like 5 people going into one room, but like one person by themselves.
Yeah.
Like imagine just being home alone. Just home alone, you can like amp yourself up, but to be in a place like a prison completely alone by yourself and you start hearing things like that in itself would, like, that's rough, man. That's tough.
Yeah, if I was sitting in a haunted prison by myself and I heard somebody scream,
yeah,
I might be a little freaked out.
What, Krystal?
I'd be running for the water at that point.
I know.
Like, oh, no,
We'd all digging our own tunnels. We're like, we'll help you get out of here. Like, stop haunting me.
I'll just go sit on the edge of the pier. I'll wait for the boat.
Exactly. I just see you swinging your legs on the pier.
And you can see cork from there. So it's like you'd be staring at it and be like, do I think I can swim that far?
Yeah, right.
Doesn't look that far.
Right. Perception's always better in dire need.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's really interesting. It's really cool because you guys actually got to go there and like visit and stuff. So,
yeah,
Wendy says hi.
If we ever go back again, we'll definitely do overnight tours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then you guys just you guys got to stream it then.
Yeah.
Need the views.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would do it. I'd stream it and be like,
there you go. There you go.
I would totally do that. All right. Well, what's your legend, Bethany?
Okay, so the one that I have that I'm going to go with is I'm reading it from my phone. Hold on. Drunken Thaddy and the Bishop's Lady. And this one's kind of scandalous.
It sounds scandalous.
It is. So it's it's this guy. Okay, it says in like basically it's this man like Thomond. It's based off of Thomond Bridge. Okay, it's this place, and I'm sure I'm saying the names wrong. I'm so sorry. But basically, it's this man Thaddy who's with the Bishop's Lady, like his woman, and they kind of meet up. It's all scandalous. It's a nice affair, all sorts of stuff. And then one day they're crossing the bridge, and they have like a fight. And she tries to push him in the water, but like things turn, and he pushes her in the water. In which case, like she dies. And so now the legend, what it is that if you are alone at night and you're like walking across the Thomond Bridge and stuff, every now and then you might see, she might pull you down into your watery demise. But like, here's the thing is before she pulls you down, you will see her fingerprints or her handprints on the edge of the bridge from where she was trying to hold on to before she fell.
So once you see her fingerprints, do you have time to turn around and run?
No, I think it's kind of like immediate. Like you see the prints and you're like, shit. And then you're gone. Like, like she pulls you down.
Okay. So, is that only if you cross the bridge alone? Because I need to know if I need to
yes.
It's okay to cross that bridge next time I go to Ireland, but I need to have somebody with
me.
If
you're by yourself, then grab like a raccoon or something and take it with you. I don't know.
Fingerprints and throw the raccoon.
The raccoon's like, what the hell?
Do they have raccoons there?
I have no idea. But I'm like listening to a story that has a raccoon, so that's what's in my head.
I mean, we had something.
They definitely had sheep.
Yeah, the sheep. The sheep's all fat.
She's like, oh, good. I've been looking for a new wool coat.
To keep me warm in these treacherous waters.
She's like, this is all I've been asking for hundreds of years.
She's like, it's cold. But yeah, like I think that's kind of interesting. Because it's already kind of creepy when you're walking by yourself. And then you can just imagine, like, okay, when you guys were over there, did you see a lot of fog or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
there was a good amount of fog.
Damn. Stacy's gonna say Pete is coming for us.
We're going to throw sheep and raccoons at the ghosts. Yeah, they won't like that.
But like, can you imagine? You're just like you're going for a stroll, you're crossing a bridge, there's a nice fog, and you're like, ooh, this is creepy, but like you're still safe because you're in like 21st century mind right there. And the next thing you know, like you're pulled to your watery grave and you're just part of the urban legend. So I'm like, interesting.
It's true. I felt relatively safe in Ireland, but not if I ever cross a bridge now.
Yeah, don't cross bridges. There's always trolls. There's always watery graves.
Yeah.
I don't think we crossed many bridges.
I don't know.
I'm kind of glad we didn't now.
I know.
But I think if we did, we were always in a car. So
there you go.
Safe.
Not to say you can't go over the bridge or like go off the bridge in your car.
True.
Yeah.
Just have to drive faster than the ghost can pull.
I don't know. Half-assed is a supernatural entity.
I think maybe it depends on the ghost. Some are probably some are probably slow.
The ghost is like they're just minding its own business, and then here's room, and it's like crap.
Like she's about to grab onto the bridge, and then she's like, "Wait a second, come back!"
Damn it.
I was trying to do a
tire for that.
That story reminds me of, I think it's in England. There's a bridge that's known for dogs committing suicide.
What?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The dog?
Yeah.
Dogs.
The dogs would just go to this bridge and jump off their bridge into the water and just.
I'm going to put Stacy's comment back up there just in response to.
Hey, we're not doing that. That's dogs doing it. But it's supposed to, I forget exactly the legend on why they do it. But yeah, like if your dog is unleashed, even if it's leashed, it might like try to get out of its leash and it'll just like jump. And yeah, it's like the dog suicide bridge. It's crazy.
That is a horrible, horrible story. Only because I'm like dogs. Like
I know, they're so cute.
They are. Well, some. Unless you're delivering pizza and they bite your legs, then
Yeah. There I saw a dog today. It was a Bernese Mountain Dog, but it was like old and disabled. It couldn't stand up anymore. Like it's had an issue with its back legs where like the owners have to like pull it up. So it had like its little harness on its butt. And it was just barking at me. Like not in a mean way, but just like, you're in my house.
You're in my house.
It was really cute. And I wanted to pet it, but obviously you're not going to try to pet a barking dog.
So I'm going to feature Mike here because he's been commenting. He's got 4-leaf clovers. He says, don't forget leprechauns. And then now he's like, pots of gold, rainbows with little guys with green hats.
I mean, it sounds like he's just singing the Lucky Charms song right now.
I know. Yes. But you know what? How we can kind of tie that in though is with Leprechaun, with the movie Leprechaun. Did you guys watch that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love that that's Jennifer Aniston's like her first horror
It's like
movie.
her first big role, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's a lot of people. Like Kevin Bacon, his first one was Friday the 13th. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston with her first one, Johnny Depp with Nightmare on Elm Street. Like horror's kind of like the one you want to get into when you would be a breakout star. So
well, like I mean Jamie Lee Curtis with Halloween.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like George Clooney From Dusk Till Dawn. Like, I mean, he was big in the 90s, but that was definitely a really Quentin Tarantino film.
Exactly.
On the spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way for people to like really make it in. Like, and then later they're like, oh, like Jennifer Aniston apparently hates the fact that she did Leprechaun. And I'm like, okay, so yeah, your dad's an actor too. So you might have found your way in some other way. But that was the movie that got you noticed. Why would you regret that? Even though that's
your story.
It wasn't even a bad movie.
No, I like Leprechaun.
No, like, I mean, it's totally like that late 80s, early 90s
Mhm.
cheese factor horror, and it's funny, and I like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, so my girls, well, Axel's girls, my stepdaughters, they're so big on their heritage, and that's one thing I've learned about Puerto Ricans. They're so big on their heritage, which is awesome. And the girls are half Puerto Rican, half Mexican, so they're always learning about like Puerto Rico. They're learning about like Mexico and all this stuff.
She
And
was.
they ask me, they're like, "What are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm mostly Irish, like compared to other stuff." And they're just like, "What's Ireland or what's Irish?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a land called Ireland, and we have like, I'm like, we have little men with hats and pots of gold and stuff." And I like, yeah, and it didn't dawn on me to tell them like that was fake. Like, so now they're fully believe that like Ireland is like the little leprechauns and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I need to educate you. Sorry.
I mean, maybe they're not fake. Maybe leprechauns are real.
You know what? You never know. You
don't
never
know.
know. Mike says Juliet Lewis from was in Dusk Till
Yeah.
Dawn. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yep.
She
yep.
was.
I will always associate her with Christmas Vacation, though. Like that's just that's my Juliet Lewis movie.
But I mean, yeah, I think like, I mean, obviously, like we're talking about Irish urban legends, and like that's, you know, the 4-leaf clover for luck, and the leprechauns with like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But a lot of times, like, I mean, I think like I was just trying to be like, I wanted to talk about something a little bit like different that people don't know about as much.
Exactly.
But I think like with leprechauns, like a lot of it is actually like, you know, they're more of like tricksters in a way.
They are kind of, because they always tempt you with the pot of gold, but you can never actually get that pot of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Or they tempt you, if you catch one, then you get a wish. But the wish is kind of like the Wishmaster wish, where it's not like how you get the wish is not how you wanted to get it.
Yeah, the whole be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that is true.
Your wish is going to be twisted and not in a good way.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking up leprechauns, and it says that they are a supernatural being in Irish folklore, classed by some type as a solitary fairy. I mean, yeah, I could see them as fairy.
Yeah, I could see that.
They, you know how you said they're kind of like they play tricks and stuff? It's kind of like the trickster from Supernatural. So kind of like that. But yeah, I mean, fairies are kind of known to be tricksters. Fairies always kind of like lure, they're kind of a mixture of like sirens a little bit, where they kind of lure you into stuff, and then they like trick you with something else.
Yeah. Or like they make you think that you're going to get something you really want, but it's like the whole wish thing, like they give it to you but not in the way that you wanted it. Or like you have to they'll give you what you want, but you have to do something for them in return, and if you don't do it just right, then they take everything away.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely really interesting. I just was looking, like, I didn't do a lot of research into leprechauns for today's episode.
I did not either. I just did a Google search. But it made me think like fairies in general are kind of tricky. Like, look at Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell's a bitch. Like, pardon my words, but like she tried to kill Wendy. Like, that's like fairies are not nice.
She's feisty.
She is. Like, even then she's all like like with all her little sounds and stuff. I don't know. Look at Mike. You wish for $1 million and they give it to you, but it's stolen. The cops are coming for you.
It's a very fairy way to do something.
Exactly. All right. Well, we actually chatted for quite a bit. I know we had a couple other stories, but maybe we can do another episode later on. Krystal, I was going to ask you, do you want to maybe do another episode next week to kind of get back on track? Or did you want to wait 2 weeks, do you think?
No, we can do that.
Okay, I think so, because I'm not sure if Hadley had something planned for like every other week to like fill in from ours.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's plan on next week. We'll meet back together. Brandy, you're always welcome to join. It was fun to have you on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'd love to come back.
Absolutely. No, we loved having you. So anytime you want to join, just let us know and we'll get you on there. I'm not sure what our topic is going to be for next week, but definitely stay tuned. We'll announce it. Krystal and I, we always kind of promote it, and I know Hadley is really good at promoting it too. But Krystal, do you want to say anything before we go, or?
Well, I guess happy St. Patrick's Day for everybody this week. I know all of America loves to just absorb nationalities whenever it comes to holidays. So everybody in America is going to be Irish on Friday. Stay safe, but enjoy it.
Absolutely. Brandy, it was a pleasure having you on here. Do you have anything you want to say goodbye or anything
thank
coming
you guys
up?
for having me. Of course, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully everybody has fun. It's always one of the funner holidays. So if you drink, if you go out, definitely get an Uber. Don't try to drive.
I do want to say that AAA normally offers free tow services on St. Patty's night.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, generally they do. Mike Lewis says, do not drink too much green beer. Landa says, fun show, thanks. And I'm going to end with Stacy McMullen right here saying, Tinkerbell's a bitch. So I think that is a very good way to end our show. So guys, we will see you next week on Blondes, Books, and Campfire Tales. Our discussion will be to be determined. If you have any suggestions, definitely drop us a line and we will take it into consideration. But thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.